I just made it to Osaka Expo 2025. I'm super excited for this. I'm here for 2 days. It's currently May 9th at 10 a.m. I've been waiting a long time for this to happen. It's actually gonna rain starting at 2 p.m. Hopefully this comes in handy. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Expo 2025 is a world's fair. Held this year in Osaka, Japan, it's a global event where over 150 countries come together to showcase ideas, culture, and innovation. The theme? Designing future society for our lives. Okay, just made it through security. To recap, my reservation was for 10 a.m. I got there around 10:20 and I got through around 10:30. So it was about a 10-minute wait, which is actually not bad. What I read online was it would take a bit longer. I noticed there was a group of people waiting for the 11 a.m. entry and they were waiting for a while, so. I spent 2 full days wandering through the expo grounds, jumping from country to country, pavilion to pavilion, all trying to understand how different nations want to be seen. Some showed off tech, others told quiet, emotional stories. Some were bold, but some were confusing. But each one said something about how a country wants the world to experience it. This isn't a full review of every country. It's a walk through the ones I visited, the ones that stuck with me, the ones that made me laugh or made me think. No politics, no ranking, just a personal journey through one of the most fascinating events on the planet. Oman's pavilion was visually striking. It opened with a musical immersion, Omani percussion and rhythm echoing through rooms, immediately pulling you in. And then it ends outdoors with this bold red structure that feels like a modern monument. Unexpected and memorable. Poland's pavilion blended nature and design, wood-lined rooms, floral visuals, and a flow that felt grounded and warm. But it finishes on a very different note, a sleek, high-tech room with lights and projections about their future. That shift was subtle but powerful. So apparently Princess Aiko of Japan is here, the emperor's daughter, and I'm trying to get a good view, but I cannot. There's way too many people, they're all waiting, and it's funny because it's all Japanese, and the foreigners don't really know what's going on. I had to Google Translate in order to find out who is here. Singapore's pavilion doesn't explain much, but it makes you feel something. You enter through a garden made of delicate paper structures. Then it asks you to draw your own dreams on a screen. Few instructions, just mainly intuition. Upstairs though, those dreams come together in a dome of light and motion, layered into a visual story. You leave through a garden and somehow it all just sticks with you. It's beautiful, it's thoughtful, but I still walked out wondering what it actually said about Singapore itself. The commons halls are scattered across the grounds, big shared halls for countries that don't have their own standalone building. You could spend hours here, hopping from one flag to the next. Most booths are light on storytelling, just quick displays and info panels, but they do give you a rare glimpse of nations you almost never hear about in the news. One minute you're looking at handicrafts from the Marshall Islands, the next you're reading about Mali. For a travel geek like me, it was a goldmine, but unfortunately I had to skip a lot of it to make time for the bigger pavilions. Indonesia came to impress. You're greeted with a cup of coffee, great during the rain, and it was completely unexpected. Then you walk through a dense forest of real plants, flown in from home. The air feels humid and alive. Along the way, displays of traditional weapons and artifacts line the path. At the end, a theater-sized screen wraps it all together. It's bold, immersive, and hard to forget. Australia's pavilion felt like a high-tech school project. Submitted late, but polished. You walk through a forested path that sets the tone, and then it shifts into a series of big, beautiful ocean visuals. But that's kind of it. It was a bit lacking. There's no real story and, surprisingly, barely a nod to indigenous culture. Spain's pavilion opened big, a sweeping room dedicated to their maritime legacy and deep connection to the ocean. There's even a whole section on their historical ties with Japan, which was unexpected and pretty cool. The second half of the room focused on sustainability and Spain's future, not super detailed but aspirational. Then it all wrapped up in a bright orange room full of color, texture, and a few unmistakably Spanish touches. I didn't have a chance to go inside Korea's pavilion, but take a look at their outside display screens. Truly the world leader in this department. Japan's pavilion was one of the hardest to book, and totally worth it. The pavilion structure itself is stunning, wrapped in layered wooden planks that represent circularity, both in form and function. After the expo, parts of it will even be reused in buildings across Japan. The theme is Between Lives, and you walk through 3 immersive zones that each show a different stage in the life cycle of a sustainable material, algae. First, you see how it's harvested and broken down. Then, how it transforms into products that we could use. And finally, how it connects back to nature through reuse and decomposition. Like the Expo's theme, it's about designing a future where nothing is wasted and everything lives on through something else. A quiet, thoughtful experience, very Japan. Okay, day 2 of 2 at the Expo. Now it's a Saturday. I'm curious to see what the difference is between a Friday, which I went to yesterday, and a Saturday. Yesterday I noticed there were a lot of school tour groups. Today I would assume there's families because of the weekend. I'm gonna go check out the pavilions that I wasn't able to visit yesterday, and yeah. The Philippines pavilion was chaotic, fun, and full of personality. As a native Filipino, I asked if I could skip the line, but unfortunately, they didn't allow me. In the middle of it all was a native dance performance. And then suddenly, you see yourself on the screen. AI generated, dancing right along with them. It was silly, unexpected, and totally communal. People laughed, pointed, and danced with strangers. It wasn't about flashy tech, it was about joy. And it really made you feel part of something. The UAE pavilion felt like walking into a forest made of straw and light. Dozens of towering columns stretched up to a glowing ceiling. It was all about scale and design. Around the edges, there were exhibits on the UAE's global contributions, but the real message was visual. It was meant to make you feel small, maybe even inspired, and in that way, it worked. Turkmenistan's pavilion was unforgettable. You're greeted by a giant portrait of their leader, followed by a cinematic reel of mountains, buildings, and deserts, but not a single person in sight. Upstairs, an entire room of products, everything from sauces to motor oil. Honestly, it kind of felt like a Wikipedia page brought to life. And really, I respect the commitment. The France pavilion was a visual dream. From the building itself to the rooms inside, it was all light, color, and texture. You move slowly through minimalist exhibits, then find yourself surrounded by pieces from Dior, Celine, and Louis Vuitton. Suitcases, dresses, and just design as storytelling. But it didn't really teach me anything about France, not in a literal sense. Instead, it felt like a mood, something meditative, almost romantic. It leaves you with a feeling more than a message. And that's very French. Germany's pavilion felt like one of the most aligned with the Expo's theme. You're guided through by a small orb-like companion, part narrator, part character, as you explore interactive exhibits focused on sustainability and innovation. Each station is personal. You can scan, listen, and learn all on your own. It's meant to feel collective, but without seeing what others are discovering, so that shared journey feels a bit distant. Look how cute it is. Still, the concept is strong. The exhibits dive deep into Germany's sustainability efforts, and it ends on a beautiful rooftop garden with displays from each region. A calm and grounding finish. I definitely recommend going up the huge wooden ring around the expo. It's a cool walk and gives stunning views. Showing my Canadian citizenship, I was able to enter the line without making a reservation. Canada's pavilion dropped you into a dark room filled with glowing icebergs. You're given an iPad, and as you hover over each one, different scenes appear. Landscapes, communities, flashes of Canadian identity in augmented reality. It was visually striking and fun to explore, but there wasn't much context. No narration, no story, just digital fragments floating in space. The China Pavilion didn't hold back. Even from the outside, it makes a statement. A massive wooden facade with sweeping curves and traditional motifs. Inside, everything feels deliberate. Towering screens, intricate exhibits, iconic music. It was like a showcase of national pride featuring cutting-edge tech, space exploration, and sustainability. There was definitely a narrative being told here, but more than anything, it was about scale and ambition. It's undeniably impressive, and China's making sure you walked away knowing exactly who they are on the world stage. After 2 packed days at Expo 2025, my feet were dead, my camera battery barely holding on, but I felt really glad I came. If you're thinking about going, I definitely recommend it. Just be prepared for long lines and a booking system that really could use some work. That said though, it's one of those rare events that brings the entire world into one place, and it's worth experiencing if you get the chance. Finally heading out of the park, I tried to get merch at the official Expo store right at 9 p.m. when it's closing, and that line is insane. Probably just gonna get some merch at the stores in the cities. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. I know it's been a while since I had a video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.